In the last lecture, we have discussed in depth about what happens in act number 3 and act number 4, and I gave you the important shloka related to act number 4, how it is important when we consider the ethics of human life, because that act contains a lot of messages and advice by the older generation to the people of the younger generation. So Shakuntala has taken leave of the ashram and the ashramites, and she is now going to meet her husband Dushyanta in his capital city. So the act number 4 ended there, and now we are into act number 5. So in this lecture we will discuss act number 5, act number 6 and act number 7 also, so which will be the last act, number 7. The discussion on the acts will be over today. Act number 5, unlike the previous acts, happens in the king's capital. We saw that the first 4 acts happened in the garden of hermitage of Rishi Kanva. It was a natural setting. Now we come to a different setting in act number 5. So there is a change in the scene. This happens in the palace of King Dushyanta. What is happening here? In act number 5, we see that the curse given by Durvasa to Shakuntala is now in action, and its effects are being seen, being observed. Shakuntala and her companions, she is a pregnant lady, and that is why Kanva has arranged for some more people to go with her and tell the king that she is his wife and request him to accept her. So he has sent a few men and women from his ashram to accompany with Shakuntala. So all these people reach king's palace, and now all of these people want to enter the court of king, and the king is busy in his own meeting. There a chamberlain comes and informs king about the arrival of some ascetics from the ashram of Kanva, and that they want to meet the king. And the king allows them to come inside the court. Now the scene is very interesting here. Shakuntala, a pregnant woman now, is veiled. Her face is not revealed to the king. And the accompanists, the people who have come with Shakuntala, talk to the king. She doesn't talk directly to the king. This is a way how the elders presented some matters which were of importance. They did not allow the younger generation to speak. So it was the responsibility of the older ascetics to take care of the situation, because it was a strange situation. The ascetic, one of the ascetics, starts talking to King Dushyanta and tells him that this veiled woman is your wife, and now she is pregnant with your child. This is a shock and also surprise to King Dushyanta, because he had already forgotten about Shakuntala and her hermitage because of the curse. There are 2 different variations related to this story. There is one possibility that the king might have forgotten about Shakuntala because of his duties as a king. This is one possibility. I am not blaming King Dushyanta here. And because he is a king, he has lots of responsibilities to hold. He might have forgotten in his duties. He might have forgotten everything about Shakuntala. This is one possibility. But now we have to show the king in a very good light. In a drama, as we saw the shloka, the hero should be having good qualities. He should be good in his memory. When we look at these criteria, here the king might fail. And if the hero fails on the stage, if the hero fails in his action, then it will not be a good drama. So in order to cover up king's lack of memory, or it might be the other way around also. As I said, these are just two possibilities. So to show king as innocent, to show king that he has not forgotten about Shakuntala on his own, but it is the curse which is acting, the episode of curse is taken here. As I said, there is this version also may be true, but in the drama, when we are speaking about the techniques, the hero should never be shown to be making a mistake. If we don't show the episode of curse, then we may hold the king responsible for his irresponsibility, right? But here, since the curse is acting upon both Shakuntala and Dushyanta, Dushyanta is unable to recognize this woman, and he starts arguing with the people who have come with Shakuntala, saying that you are falsely accusing me of a relation which did not exist at all. Now this comes as a shock to the Ashramites who have accompanied Shakuntala. Even Dushyanta is in a state of shock and he is enraged. So after this discussion, after arguments take place, these people unveil Shakuntala, so that at least now when the king looks at her face, he might recognize her, but it is in vain. Even now, when her face is unveiled, when her face is uncovered, even now the king is not able to recognize who this woman is. And now Shakuntala starts talking to the king, blaming the king that he made love to her. He promised that he will come back to take her back, and now he has forgotten everything. So she starts calling king with bad names, and she starts blaming the king, and later she starts blaming himself as well, because she loved a man who was not worth respecting. So this all takes place in the court. There is a lot of confusion happening. The king doesn't know who these people are. Shakuntala doesn't know why the king is not able to recognize her. Suddenly she remembers a thing told to her by Priyamvada. When Shakuntala was leaving the ashram, Priyamvada, who was aware of the curse given by Rishi Durvasa, she has asked Shakuntala to show the ring given by the king in case the king fails to recognize Shakuntala. Now suddenly this flashes in the mind of Shakuntala, so she looks for the ring in her finger. But now this is again the game of fate. So fatalism is also an important theme in this drama. So it is a game of fate here, that when she looks for the ring in her fingers, she is unable to get that ring, and the ring is lost somewhere. She doesn't know how she lost it and when she lost it. This secret is revealed in the next act number 6. But before that, now Shakuntala has no other option to prove that she is Dushyanta's wife. She did not have the ring given by him. Now what to do? Shakuntala is in real trouble. And the Ashramites who had come with Shakuntala also get angry with her because of her irresponsible marriage, and they scold her, and they ultimately start leaving the court of the king, saying to the king that now she is your woman, she is married to you officially, and you have to take care of her. She can't come back with us to the ashram of Kanva. This also shows the responsibilities of a married woman. Now that she is married already, she belongs to the husband's house, and she is responsible for her actions. Now Shakuntala cannot go back to the ashram of Kanva. She has to stay with the king, because the Ashramites have told her that she has to live with her husband, and also she knows that Dushyanta is her husband. But unfortunately, on the other side, the king is not ready to accept her because of his doubts and confusions. and also because of the curse. And ascetics take leave of the king, and Shakuntala is now alone. She is blaming herself for having loved such a careless man. So this woman is alone in the court, and king is confused as to what to do with this woman. He thinks that somebody might be trying to bring a bad name to his character. That is why some people are playing a game against him. So there are a lot of confusions happening. He discusses with some of his intelligent ministers as to what to do with this woman, because she has now no shelter, and the king also knows that she is a pregnant woman, and leaving a woman as a destitute is a crime for a king. So after a discussion with the ministers, the decision is taken that Shakuntala should be given some shelter in the kingdom, but not in the king's palace. And here the king also remembers a premonition told to him by Vaikhanasa in the first act. He remembers that the son born to him will be having grand features of a world ruler. So the king thinks that they should wait for some more days until the lady Shakuntala delivers the baby. If they find that the baby's characteristic features are like a king, then he might accept the baby and his mother to be his wife. So Shakuntala is given shelter for some days in the kingdom. On the other side, king is also in a confused state. He has an additional responsibility of taking care of this pregnant woman whom he has not yet recognized. So some days pass, and suddenly the news comes that Shakuntala has disappeared. And some people who have seen that particular scene in which Shakuntala was disappearing, they come and tell the king that she disappeared in the form of light. Now actually this is explained later by Sutradhara, that she is taken to celestial abode by Menaka in the form of light in order to give her a better shelter. Now listening to this news, even the king is bewildered, totally confused, and he is at a loss. He feels that he has betrayed someone. He feels that maybe she was his real wife. So the act number 5 ends in this state of confusion, pain, and some sort of regret on king's part. So all the incidents happening in this particular scene, act number 5, all of these take place in the kingdom of Dushyanta, especially in the court of Dushyanta. This is basically a court scene where a lot of arguments take place, and ascetics try to convince king that it is his wife, but it is all in vain. So we can see the complete effect of Durvasa's curse happening in this drama here. There is a reference to another kind of, we can call it premonition or prediction, or we can even call it superstition. In today's world, we can call it superstition. In the beginning of the act number 5, when Shakuntala is moving inside the court of the king, her eyelid flashes, her eyelid trembles, and often it is considered as an evil omen. So Shakuntala, when she experiences this trembling of her right eyelid, she feels that something dangerous or something bad is going to happen to her. And in fact, it happens in the form when the king is unable to recognize who she is actually. As we move on with the story in act number 6, it is a kind of a recovery from the pain and confusion that was happening till now. Again, this act is taking place in the kingdom of King Dushyanta, not in the forest. And here are some important revelations, some important solutions to the problem which are being captured by Kalidasa in a very beautiful way. In Act number 6, it begins with some policemen. The king is in his court and two policemen come with a man who is actually a fisherman. They have captivated him and they bring him to the court of king, and they say that he has stolen the ring of Dushyanta. But fisherman, who was not a thief actually, he reveals all the secret in a very clear way to the king. He says that he had found that ring when he was cutting a fish. He found it in the belly of a fish. So here we come to know that the ring was lost from Shakuntala's finger when she was moving on the river in a boat. She might be playing with water, and during that time the ring had fallen from her finger. It was eaten later by a fish which was caught by this fisherman. So again we can see the game of luck here. Game of fate or game of fortune, game of luck, all these are seen in this drama. In the fourth drama, unfortunately he is not able to recognize Shakuntala. This is a game of fate. The second example for that is when she tries to look for the ring in her fingers, the ring is not seen. This is game of fate. But now it is the recovery. It is fortune which is playing its role now. So you can see how it all took place, one by one. The ring falling off her finger, it being eaten by a fish, the same fish being cut by a fisherman who is held captive by these policemen. So there is a link which is happening, which shows the power of fate, power of fortune. And the fisherman tells that this was found in the stomach of a fish, and after recognizing that it is king's ring, he has brought it to the notice of the policeman. In the main story, it is not told whether the fisherman was caught by the police or he came by himself. But in the drama, the role of policeman is shown in order to show how the king had a very good policing mechanism in his capital. He used his powers efficiently. He distributed his powers efficiently to efficient policemen who were taking control of the situations inside the capital city. So this scene is an addition done by Kalidasa, probably an addition done by Kalidasa, to show how the king has decentralized his powers and how effectively his subordinates are working in their respective works. Now, the king recognizes that the ring is his own, and the same ring was given as a gift to Shakuntala. Now, suddenly there is remembrance of all the episodes that took place in Act number 4. He remembers how he had once been to the forest and how he met Shakuntala there, how he fell in love with her and they married in the Gandharva style, and he then remembers that he had given this ring as a gift to her. Now everything is revealed to the king and he regrets for his action. But now Shakuntala is not to be seen. She is already disappeared in the celestial abode with the help of Menaka. Now the king is regretting, he is feeling the pain of loss, and suddenly all the grace of kingdom is lost. Now there is another character which is very interesting here. That is the character of Sanumati. Now Sanumati is a friend to Menaka. She is sent by Menaka to spy upon the king. Menaka wanted to confirm whether the king really misses Shakuntala or not, or whether he has remembered Shakuntala at all or not. So Sanumati is spying over the king. She meets some young women in the city who are talking of celebrations, and then some other people come there and say that the celebrations of the festivals are cancelled because the king is in gloom. When the king is sad, we cannot celebrate festivals in our kingdom. So all these scenes are shown there, and Sanumati is an observer of all these things, and she realizes that okay, the king is really sad for his actions. Then we see the king in a completely pessimistic, penitent mood. He is missing Shakuntala, he is regretting for the action which he had done. He is feeling bad because he had shown disrespect towards this woman who had come to him. In all this kind of a mood, he is trying to remember Shakuntala, and his charm as a king is getting lost day by day. He is out of his mind. He is unable to do his duties as a king properly because he is now lovesick and he is missing his wife. Now the king is shown to sit in some garden. He is not sitting there to relax or enjoy, but he is trying to remember how he had spent a few days with Shakuntala in her garden, and he is remembering her face. He is trying to draw her painting, a portrait of her, and Sanumati is observing all these activities silently, secretly, and she understands that Dushyanta has really missed Shakuntala and he is repenting for his strange action that he did on the previous occasion. When this is happening, when the king is trying to draw the portrait of Shakuntala in her memory, a maidservant comes and informs the king about certain case in the city. The case was that of a merchant whose son was lost in the sea somewhere, and all his wealth would be transferred to the kings, or it will be transferred to the government of the king. When he listens to this news or this case, now the king also feels sad because he has no wife and no son with him right now. Had he supported Shakuntala in the previous occasion, she would have been with him, and she would have given birth to her son. The son would have been the glorious progenitor of his race. All these thoughts come to his mind, and in those days when the kingdom was passed on to the sons and grandsons like this by a king, lot of importance was given to a male child, and the concept of putra in Sanskrit, punnama narakat trayate iti putraha, meaning the birth of a son, a male child, is considered important because he can pay a tribute to the ancestors and thereby avoid keeping his son in some sort of debt to the ancestors. So having a child, or especially for a king having a son, male child, was very important. And now the king is regretting. He is imagining that his future will be bleak without a son, and he is again lamenting and crying over the loss of Shakuntala and her child. When all this is happening, this is being informed by Sanumati to Menaka, and now it is time for the complete recovery for both Dushyanta and Shakuntala. At the end of Act number 6, we can see that a magnificent chariot, a Ratha, has come near King Dushyanta, and Matali, the charioteer of Indra, has come in that Ratha, and he asks Dushyanta that Indra has called him for some help. Indra is fighting against the demons and that he needs the help of Dushyanta. The act ends there, wherein Dushyanta goes with the chariot to the place of Indra to fight against the demons. he is fulfilling his responsibility as a king on the earth. And as a king on the earth, it was responsibility of a king to help in the works of the god. Thereby, Dushyanta is keeping his promises as a king of the earth as well as a friend to the gods. And we can see this is a supernatural element. This is the quality of epics. Okay, all the time you see some divine elements, some supernatural elements. How can Sanumati suddenly come from the heaven to earth? Is it possible in reality? No. How can Shakuntala suddenly disappear in the form of light to the heavenly abode of Menaka? Not possible in reality, but it is possible in the epics. It is shown as it is possible in the epics because with these supernatural elements, epics go to a grander level. And always the kings and queens shown in the epics have demi or quasi divine features or characters. They are not completely human, not completely divine. They are in between the gods and the humans. That's why you see Arjuna, Karna, all of them with supernatural powers. Although they look like humans, although they are humans, they have some divine element in them. In the same way, even the other kings in the mythological stories used to help the gods and get blessings from the gods as a return to their help. So here Dushyanta is taking an additional responsibility of serving the god to fight against the evil forces. Thereby he is trying to recover himself and recover from his loss. Act number 6 ends there, where Dushyanta also disappears with Matali and the chariot and the magnificent chariot in order to fight against the demons who were troubling Lord Indra. Act number 6 ends there. In the next lecture, we will look at act number 7, and then we will discuss in general what all has happened till now in the story and what all are the important themes, characters, and the rest of the things of the drama. Thank you so much.